My name is Pete O'Shea, and I'm a talk show host. I do a daily 3-hour radio show called The Pete O'Shea Show on the Choice Radio Network. I am also a stand-up comedian. I do shows in churches to raise money for good causes. And I am also the author of a book. It's called Pain Was My Friend, which details the 17 years I spent in back pain and the miracle cure that I received from Dr. Alfred Bonati.
Pete was in a dangerous car accident when he was only a teenager.
I was 19 years old, 1 month into my 19th year, and I'm sitting still at a light in a station wagon, and a guy in a Ford Bronco slams into my car. Wasn't paying attention, he said later on. I wound up in the ambulance. I got to the hospital, and they told me I had something called a spondylolisthesis now in my spine. Basically, my L4 vertebrae came forward and all the way to the side during that accident. So at that point, the pain was immediate, it was intense. That L4 vertebrae was now sitting on the nerve coming out of L5 and was causing quite a bit of problems too for my entire left side, my left leg in specific. And it was agony, and it kept getting worse. It was progressive. Each week, each month, each year, the pain kept getting worse and worse. If I needed to go to the bank and the cleaners in the same day, I needed 4 pills and a nap afterwards. I could not function. I couldn't tie my own shoes. I couldn't cut my own meat. It took 2 grown men to get me out of a chair. I could not breathe a lot of the times. I could not digest food. My left leg began to slowly stop functioning. It became about half the size of this leg, and I just sort of dragged it behind me. It was a useless appendage. I had no feeling in my foot whatsoever. You could jump up and down on my foot, and I would not have felt it. And it just affected every part of my life. I couldn't function. I couldn't even see straight from the pain all the time. I couldn't sleep. It was 17 years of brutality, which I would never wish on anybody. And it was again progressive, kept getting worse and worse and worse. And all the traditional surgeons offered was a ridiculously antiquated surgery that seemed barbaric to me. And they were telling me 50-50 chance of success when I knew better that it wasn't going to succeed. And I knew they were just trying to sell me a surgery that was completely antiquated. And so I didn't have much in the way of help or support in getting past it all, you know? So as it got worse and worse, I think also the emotional pain, everything else that came with it, it beat you down.
Though the accident sent him to the emergency room, the real danger lurked in the doctors who wanted to operate.
The open surgeons, here's what they offered. Right there that first day in the hospital, this guy came in and he said to me, okay, I'm gonna cut 2-foot wide incisions on both sides of you. And then he said, I'm gonna shave bones off your hips, and I'm gonna put those in there. And then I'm gonna get titanium and steel, and I'm gonna put it all around that. I'm gonna put screws and plates and stuff. I'm like, wait, I'm gonna have more screws in me than a Home Depot, and I'm gonna go off at airports for the rest of my life. And it just sounded crazy to me, okay? And I said to him, is this gonna work? He said, you got a 50-50 chance. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And then at the end of it, 17 years later, I went back to the same doctor. And I said, because I was really in bad shape, I needed something. And he offered the same procedure again, the exact same procedure with the same 50-50 odds. I said, how is it possible that you still stink at this? How is it that you got no better at this in 17 years? You can't hit the fairway on this thing and figure it out yet? And you still want me to do this? It was just absolutely insane. And I watched so many people. I was going to physical therapy all those years. I watched the people who got that open surgery. They were worse after. They weren't better, they were worse. They were now completely stiff. They were in more pain. And they needed to go back for new surgery every 2 years to remove the scar tissue that was in the way. That was now sitting on the same nerve the guy tried to open and free. It just made no sense to me whatsoever. And in my heart and my mind, I knew there was a better way. And so I searched on the internet and I find the Bonati Institute, minimally invasive arthroscopic procedures. This has got to be him. At that point, he was the only guy doing it that way. He was the best. He was the inventor. And I reached out, and they told me to send the film, which I did. He sent the film, and he said, okay, I can help you. I'm not going to leave you in pain. I remember him saying that, I'm not going to leave you in pain. And he believed me when I told him that God sent me. He said, I know, and I'm going to help you. So come, and we'll take care of it. And when I got there to meet him, Dr. B was smiling and he was so wonderful, and he said to me, your instincts were right not to believe them. That open surgery would have never worked. Yours was way too far over. And if they tried to force it back, it would have never lasted. It would have popped again. And I'm not going to do that. But I figured out a way to help you, and we're going to do it.
At his first consultation with Dr. Bonati, Pete felt relief that he not only found a resolution for his pain, but he found a partner and an equal in a treatment plan.
When we met, we sat there in his clinic first, and he described what he was going to do to me. That was the first time anybody had actually talked to me, not down to me. Had actually explained to me what was wrong with me and what could be done to fix it. It was the very first time. You got conscious IV sedation, and it made it so that you could still talk to him and communicate with him, but that you didn't feel even the incision or the cannulas going in. He wants you to be able to tell him, are you feeling it? Are you feeling that? But there's no pain associated with it. It was so easy.
In spite of the pain he endured for well over a decade, Pete saw and felt the instant results of his Bonati spine procedure when rising from the operating table.
When he did that procedure on me, when it was over, he walked to the other side of the room. He had everybody else leave, and it was just he and I now in the OR. And he walked to the other side of the room and he said, okay, walk over here to me. And I said, Doc, my leg doesn't work. You know that, It didn't work when I got here. It was dragging behind me. He goes, no, I'm pretty sure it works now. Come on, walk over here. And I took the thing out of my nose, I took the pulse ox thing off my finger, and I slid off that table, and I walked to him with both legs working normal. My left leg lifted off the ground and walked like a normal leg for the first time in probably 8 to 10 years. Right there on the spot, in the operating room. And then the two of us walked into the post-op together. We were holding hands, I'll never forget that. We were like this as we turned the corner, and everybody was cheering. And about 45 minutes later, Doc turned to me and he said, okay, go home, we'll see you tomorrow. And then he turned to everybody else and he said to them, nobody help him put his shoes and socks on. He can do that by himself now. It was amazing to watch how much the body can recover once it's now functioning the way it's supposed to. This is a permanent long-term solution. This isn't just, oh, I got this and then I need it again. All right, it's been 16 years now since I had my Bonati procedures, and I have not needed anything else since. I do a lot of different things. I travel, I have fun, I live a good full life. I do a 3-hour talk show where I'm in a chair for 3 straight hours talking to people. Again, still doing stand-up where I'm running around on the stage and jumping and doing crazy stuff, and I do a bit where I'm up on a chair, and there's no way I could do all that stuff. That radically changed my life, and it did more than just the physical. Again, I mentioned to you earlier, the emotional and even spiritual pain and damage that it caused. All that was relieved also.
And when he was ready, Pete embarked on the new journey God had set out for him, to share his story in service to others.
Anybody that's in pain, I'll tell you, put your faith in him, and come there and see how easy it is. When they say minimally invasive, they're not kidding. You're not even getting under general anesthesia, which there's a big risk right there, out the window. Hardly any bleeding, so there's no reason to stay in pain. There's no reason to live with it. Everyone just gets to the point where they say, well, I just have to live with it. No, you don't have to live with it. You can do something about it. You can go see Dr. Alfred Bonati and he will change your life, I guarantee it.